A lot of people out there treat rest like it's some kind of reward you get after the work is done, like it's dessert after dinner, something extra, something optional. But let me tell you, rest isn't a reward, it's a requirement. It's not what you do when you're finished, it's what you do so you can finish strong. Rest is a strategy, and the sooner you treat it like one, the faster you'll start seeing the kind of results you've been chasing. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, I can't afford to slow down, there's too much to do. I hear you. But let me flip that thinking around. Maybe the reason you're not moving faster is because you haven't slowed down. Maybe the breakthrough you're waiting on is hiding in a good night's sleep, a quiet afternoon, or 15 minutes with your eyes closed and the phone turned off. You see, what rest really does, it prepares you for the next challenge. It sharpens your edge. Have you ever tried cutting a steak with a dull knife? You can press down harder, grit your teeth, and push all you want, but you won't get far until you stop and sharpen the blade. That's what rest is. It's the sharpening of your blade. When you build rest into your plan on purpose with intention, you're not wasting time. You're investing in your own performance. You're saying, I know where I'm going, and I'm making sure I have the strength and clarity to get there. That's not lazy, that's wise. I once heard someone say, fatigue makes cowards of us all. And it's true. When you're tired, everything feels heavier. Small problems feel like mountains. You react instead of respond. You survive instead of lead. And the worst part, you start to believe that's your new normal. But it's not. That's just exhaustion talking. Now, I'm not saying you don't work hard, of course you do. But even the best engines need fuel and cool down time. Even racehorses rest between races. So if you want to perform at your highest level, not just once, but over and over again, you've got to treat rest like the secret weapon it is. Schedule it, protect it, prioritize it, because if you burn out, you can't show up. And if you can't show up, you can't win. Let me leave you with this. Rest isn't pulling you away from the goal. It's positioning you to reach it with more strength, more clarity, and more purpose than ever before. We live in a world that celebrates the hustle. Keep pushing, they say. Grind now, shine later. And I get it, hard work is important. But let me tell you something that a lot of people miss. Grind alone doesn't get you growth. It's not just what you do in the gym, the office, or the meeting room that builds success. It's what you do afterward. Growth doesn't happen during the work, growth happens in the recovery. Let's take a look at your muscles for a second. When you lift weights, you're not actually building muscle, you're breaking it down. You create tiny tears in the muscle fibers. It's after the workout, when you rest, that your body repairs those tears and builds back stronger. That's where the transformation happens. And what's true for your body is just as true for your mind, your creativity, your focus, your drive. But see, most people stay stuck in the breaking down phase. They keep pushing, keep going, keep saying one more hour, one more task, and then they wonder why they feel burned out, foggy, frustrated. It's not because they're doing too little, it's because they're never allowing themselves to recover from doing too much. Recovery isn't just sleep, although that's a big part of it. It's rest for your mind, your emotions, your nervous system. It's stepping away from the noise so you can actually hear yourself think. It's silence after the storm. And if you never step back to recharge, you'll never access your full strength when it's time to go again. Some folks are afraid that if they slow down, they'll fall behind. But here's the truth. You're not falling behind when you rest. You're setting yourself up to leap forward. Recovery gives you clarity, perspective, energy. It allows your ideas to simmer, your decisions to mature, and your spirit to breathe. It's the invisible ingredient in every powerful comeback you ever try pouring from an empty cup. Doesn't matter how good your intentions are, if the cup's dry, there's nothing to give. But when you recover, When you intentionally refill yourself, you show up different. You're sharper, more creative, more patient, and a whole lot more powerful. I'm telling you, if you want to rise to a higher level, you've got to respect the role of recovery, because without it, you'll run hard and go nowhere fast. But with it, you'll move with purpose, with energy, and with resilience. So the next time you think about skipping rest, remind yourself this is when the growth happens. This is where the strength is built. Don't just work hard, recover smart. That's how you keep showing up strong. Not just today, but for the long run. You know, we live in a time where everyone wants to move faster. We want faster decisions, quicker results, and instant answers. But here's the thing. They don't tell you that speed without clarity is just spinning your wheel. And where does clarity come from? It comes from rest, from sleep, from stillness. That's right. Sleep sharpens decision-making and focus in a way that hustle never will. Let's think about it. When you're sleep deprived, even the simplest decisions feel like climbing a mountain. You second guess yourself, forget things, overreact and underdeliver. And it's not because you're not smart, it's because your brain's running on fumes. You wouldn't drive your car with the fuel light flashing and expect peak performance, right? Yet that's exactly what we do to ourselves when we trade sleep for productivity. Sleep isn't just about closing your eyes and waking up in the morning. It's when your brain organizes, resets, and files away everything you took in during the day. While you rest, your brain's sorting information, reinforcing memories, clearing out mental clutter, and restoring the parts that handle problem-solving, creativity, and emotional control. In other words, sleep is the nightly tune-up that gets your mind ready to operate at full capacity. Now, let me ask you, have you ever had one of those mornings where everything just clicks? You wake up and suddenly that thing you were stuck on the night before seems easy. That's not luck. That's your brain doing its best work while you slept. Sleep doesn't waste time. It multiplies your effectiveness. Some folks wear sleep deprivation like a badge of honor. I only got 4 hours last night, they brag, as if that's something to be proud of. But there's nothing heroic about being tired and foggy. The truth is, sleep deprivation leads to poor choices, missed opportunities, and conversations you wish you could take back. It doesn't just dull your focus, it erodes your judgment. You don't need to guess your way through the day. You don't need to chase every answer with tired eyes and a worn-out brain. What you need is to step back, rest, and let your mind come back into alignment. That's when you start making clear, confident decisions. That's when focus isn't something you fight for. It's just there, ready when you are. So the next time you're stuck, the next time you feel scattered and uncertain, don't just push harder. Pause, rest, sleep. Because your sharpest thinking doesn't come from the grind, it comes from the recovery that fuels it. You ever try to run through water? Feels like everything's in slow motion, doesn't it? That's what fatigue does to your life. It weighs you down, slows you up, and makes everything harder than it needs to be. And the thing about fatigue is, it's sneaky. It doesn't always show up with sirens and warning lights. Sometimes it whispers. It shows up as irritability, forgetfulness, low motivation, and that little voice in your head that says, I'm not good enough. But I'll tell you right now, that's not truth speaking, that's tired talking. Fatigue masks potential and performance. It puts a fog over your strengths, your vision, and your drive. When you're worn out, you can't see clearly what you're capable of. You start doubting yourself. You start shrinking your goals to match your energy level instead of rising up to meet your real capacity. I've seen it time and time again. People who are talented, hardworking, full of ideas, but they're running on empty. And when you're running on empty, everything feels like a burden. Things you used to enjoy start to feel like obligations, and it's not because you've lost your passion, it's because you've lost your margin. You haven't refueled. Think about it. A high-performance car doesn't perform high when the tank is dry and the tires are worn out. Same goes for you. You might be built for greatness, but if you don't take time to recover, that greatness gets buried under exhaustion. You start reacting instead of responding. You start settling instead of stretching. And over time, you start believing that the tired version of you is all there is. But let me remind you, your potential hasn't left you. It's just been hiding behind a lack of rest. When you're rested, your energy returns, your clarity sharpens, you make decisions faster, you listen better, you show up stronger. Rest doesn't just bring back your strength, it brings back you, the best version of you. You don't have to hustle every hour of the day to prove your worth. You're not more valuable when you're more tired. What makes you valuable is who you are when you're showing up fully, physically, mentally, emotionally, and that only happens when you give yourself permission to recover. So the next time you catch yourself feeling off, out of rhythm, or overwhelmed, don't rush to fix everything out there. Start by checking in with yourself. Ask, am I tired? Am I drained? Because it might not be a motivation problem, it might be a rest problem. Don't let fatigue fool you into thinking you're failing. Sometimes you're not falling behind, you're just running low. If you want long-term success, not a flash in the pan, not a one-time win, but real consistency, you've got to understand something most people overlook. Consistency doesn't come from grinding harder. It comes from recovering smarter. And that's why consistent rest is not a luxury, it's a foundation. It fuels long-term success, not just the kind that shows up on your highlight reel, but the kind that sustains your energy, your focus, and your passion over time. You see, anyone can sprint for a day. Anyone can pull an all-nighter or give 110% for a week. But what happens after that? Burnout, frustration, the feeling of being stuck. That's because energy isn't infinite, and motivation can't do the heavy lifting forever. Without rest, even the most talented people run dry. What rest does is simple but powerful. It gives you staying power. It gives you the strength to show up again tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that. Not limping in, but showing up full, sharp, and ready. That's how real progress is made. Not in a burst of energy, but in steady, intentional movement over time. And that steady movement, it needs fuel. It needs recovery. Let me give you a picture. Think of your body and mind like a well-tuned engine. You can floor it every now and then, sure, but if you're always running redlined with no maintenance, something's going to break. Rest is your maintenance plan. It's what keeps you running smoothly, keeps your parts from overheating and your wheels from falling off. It's not just about avoiding burnout, it's about operating at your best consistently. When you rest regularly, you stop riding that roller coaster of extreme highs followed by deep crashes. You become more reliable, more creative, more resilient. And let me tell you, that's a powerful place to be. People notice when you show up sharp day after day, not just once in a while when the stars align and you happen to feel good. That's why long-term success belongs to the ones who know when to push and when to pause. It's not a sign of weakness to take care of yourself, it's wisdom. You don't win the race by running full speed until you drop. You win it by pacing yourself, recovering well, and staying in the game longer than anyone else. So if you're building something that matters, whether it's a business, a dream, a family, or just a better version of yourself, don't ignore the power of rest. Because the secret to lasting success isn't just effort, it's endurance. And endurance is built one good rest at a time. Most people think the race starts when the alarm goes off in the morning, but let me tell you something, the race starts the night before. What you do before your head hits the pillow sets the tone for everything that comes after. because winning begins with intentional recovery. Not rushed, not skipped, not thrown in if the time left over. Intentional. When you plan for recovery, you're planning to win. It's not just sleep, it's the mindset you carry into rest. It's saying, I value my energy enough to protect it. You don't leave your phone on overnight without charging it and expect it to work the next day. So why would you treat yourself any different? Recovery is where the reset happens. It's where your mind gets clear, your body gets stronger, and your emotions settle. It's where the scattered pieces of the day come together so you can step into tomorrow with clarity and confidence. But that kind of recovery doesn't happen by accident, it happens on purpose. Too many folks in their day scrolling, stressing, thinking about tomorrow before today's even over. And they wonder why they wake up feeling drained. Rest isn't just about putting your body in bed, it's about putting your mind at ease. It's about giving yourself permission to let go of the day so your body and soul can do the work of rebuilding. Let me tell you, winners recover differently. They treat rest like fuel. They don't just squeeze it in, they schedule it. They prepare for it. They understand that recovery is part of performance, not separate from it. And when you start treating it that way, something shifts. You stop dragging yourself into the day. You start showing up ready, refreshed, and fully present. You don't have to crash to take a break. You don't have to wait until you're burned out to hit pause. You can choose recovery before the breakdown. That's what intentional living looks like. It's knowing when to work hard and when to step back so you can go again and go further. Because you're not here to survive the week, you're here to thrive. And thriving doesn't come from always being on. It comes from learning how to turn off with purpose. So if you really want to win, if you want to lead, create, love, serve, and show up at your highest level, then don't overlook the quiet moments. Protect your rest. Because success doesn't just show up in the spotlight, it's built in the dark, when no one's watching, and you choose to recover like a champion. As we wrap up today, remember this: rest is not a sign of weakness, it's the foundation of strength. Your best self isn't created in a constant state of hustle, but in moments of recovery where your mind, body, and spirit align to perform at their highest potential. Success isn't just about pushing harder, it's about recovering smarter. Showing up with energy, clarity, and purpose every day. So take this message with you. Prioritize your rest, cherish your recovery, and trust that the work you put in before the work pays off more than you can imagine. May you find balance in your life, resilience in your rest, and power in your recovery. Good luck on your journey, and thank you for your time and attention today. Go out there, take care of yourself, and show the world the best version of you. Thank you.